Welcome back for another edition of Pinellas Courtside Connection, where we bring you inside Pinellas County high school basketball scene with a look back at recent scores, take a look at the countywide top 10 rankings, and look ahead to some key upcoming games. I'm Kevin Fisher, and I'll host you through our show tonight. We have a special guest joining us later on in the show as the Lakeside Christian boys varsity coach Scott Johnson joins us here on Pinellas Courtside Connection for another edition of Coach's Corner. Look forward to catching up with Coach and hearing all things about Lakeside. Coach's unique background with his familiarity with high school basketball in this area. Look forward to hearing from Coach and getting some insights from him as we look ahead to the second half of the season. It's an interesting time of year, always a little bit tricky this time of year coming off of break as students get back in the routine of getting into classes and going back to school. Now that all the countywide schools are back in session, some big games this week. We'll start right away taking a look at the top 10 rankings on the girls' side. It's always an interesting time of year as teams start to really shape up their identity and start to fine-tune their team, and everybody takes a different ownership to their role. Not much shakeup as we look at the girls' side. Again, Lakewood staying at number 1 and Gibbs at number 2. This week, remember, these rankings come out on Sunday night, but this week it was a big showdown. Monday night, welcome back to the second semester as Lakewood and Gibbs battled out down at Lakewood. Unfortunately, was not able to catch that stream. There were some technical difficulties on their side. But look, Lakewood kind of stepped through and kind of confirmed what we all have been saying all along. The just depth of the Spartans proved to be too much for Gibbs. It was Alani Lovett leading the way for Spartans with 25 points and 8 rebounds, and Rihanna Callahan checking in with a double-double of 13 points and 10 rebounds in a big matchup. Again, this is what high school basketball is all about, getting two of the top teams in the county meeting face-to-face, squaring off in a district opponent matchup. It's a district that is loaded with talent. You add Gibbs and Lakewood, and you add in Academy of Holy Names over at Tampa, and promises to be some great basketball in the second half. But it was Lakewood getting the first of the matchups. Could be another matchup in districts, possibly even in regionals. We'll have to keep an eye on that and keep everyone updated. But Lakewood holding on to that one spot and confirming it with their win. Gibbs at 2. Keswick checks in at 3. The Crusaders in their first game back. Again, I think we touched on this before, but it was a battle. Those first game backs can always be tricky. You know, you're starting to get back into routine of practices and the schedule of classes and everything else. But Keswick managed to hold off Palm Harbor despite being down 21-12 at halftime. Again, the Crusaders shot a blistering 5 for 30 from the floor in the first half. But it was Ava Graham, the Crusaders leader, who paved the way to victory for Keswick, finishing with 31 points, 27 of which came in the second half, as the Crusaders hold on to the number 3 spot. Clearwater checks in at number 4, and CCC holding on at number 5 with Countryside at number 6. Countryside played up in the River Ridge New Year's tournament. 2 tough matchups. They faced the number 2 ranked team in 2A and St. John Newman down out of Naples. St. John Newman just post presence proved to be too much to handle for the Lady Cougars. But again, battle tested. They had a big matchup against Mitchell, a squad that's 9-4. Came up short there, but was able to squeak out a victory in the tournament finale, beating Berkeley Prep to pick up an extra win for Countryside, who holds firm at number 6. Palm Harbor, number 7, checks in this week. They have some big games coming up, some good tests for the Lady Hurricanes as they play Northeast and Seminole, and again, a game with Calvary later on in this week. As speaking of Calvary, checks in at number 8. Largo and Eastlake holding on to the number 9 and 10 spot. Don't be alarmed if you see Bogey sneaking in there next week or in the coming weeks. They're back and they're healthy. Some teams on the outside knocking on the top 10 door. Certainly proves to be a promising second half for a lot of teams as they start to work through their return to play. It's this time of year when we start to hear about the FHSAA rankings. You have these we have our Pinellas Courtside Connection rankings, which certainly weights the county-wide competition a little bit differently than what you would get. The head-to-head matchups in county are certainly paramount when it comes to the Pinellas Courtside Connection rankings. The FHSAA rankings come out, their second publication this week. And again, it's a little bit tricky to fully understand, but you look at the FHSAA girls rankings on this side, and you have Keswick at 1 and Lakewood at 2. Again, a mere one spot separating them. And you look at their overall state ranking, it's Keswick at number 68 in the state and Lakewood at number 69. Time will tell on that. But hey, I have a biased opinion. I wear the Keswick hat. I wear it proudly. All due respect, Lakewood is the team to beat in Pinellas County when it comes to the girls' side. And they've certainly proven that, and look forward to the competition as the year unfolds. Again, Lakewood having a tough second half of the season schedule, certainly will be tested. Will have opportunities to prove their rank, if you will. But again, the FHSAA rankings are the ones that ultimately matter when it comes to postseason action. You have you have 4 district champions in every region, and then you have the 4 highest ranked teams earning spots in the regionals. So those spots are determined by the FHSAA rankings. And you look at, just to give you a better sense of how those shape out, 4A, Region 3 right now, your top 3 spots are Lakewood, Academy of the Holy Names, and Gibbs, all coming from the same district. Again, it's a modification to the ranking system and the regional qualifications that FHSAA made a few years back. One that, honestly, I really like. It gives teams that are in a loaded district a chance to really compete at that regional and that state tournament level. Certainly a great modification. I know the FHSAA takes a lot of heat for a lot of different things. But again, this is one I really think they got right in rewarding those 4 highest ranked teams an opportunity to play in the state tournament. On the girls' side, again, 4A Region 3, Lakewood 1, Holy Names 2, Gibbs 3, and you have another team from their district currently at the number 8 spot. So potentially 4 teams from one district. Certainly a tricky modification. But here's a look at that, the rankings comparison. Again, Keswick checks in at 1, Lakewood 2, Gibbs 3, CCC 4, which is a little bit higher than we have them in the Pinellas Courtside Connection rankings. Ultimately, that stems from the in-county head-to-head matchups. We had the chance to see CCC and Clearwater both in action at the Keswick tournament over Christmas break. And I'm not sure anybody would really argue that the Clearwater being ranked higher than CCC at the current moment. Calvary checks in a little bit higher. Again, once you get those wins and the schedule starts balancing out, you start to see those rankings take a little bit more, take better shape, I guess you could say. I often equate it to the directions of old from MapQuest. They can get you from California to Florida, but once you have to get to downtown St. Pete, their directions are going to be a little bit screwy. That's kind of where we are with the rankings. You might have some things you disagree with, but certainly good to see some of those teams in line with where we're at with the rankings, but also some other teams breaking through. You have even a Lakeside Christian checking in at number 10. Certainly a win for that program as we get going through the season. Now, again, there's lots of girls action, lots to talk about there, but we're going to keep going to the show. I know we have Coach Johnson in the waiting room, but we'll take a look at the boys' rankings before we bring Coach in. Again, Gibbs holds strong at number 1. It's kind of it's hard to, Gibbs travels over to the pre-MLK Classic at Andrew Jackson High School, playing one of the premier tournaments of this part of the season. They hold strong, battled tough, but came up short twice. They lost to Oakleaf by 2, 62-60, and they fell short against Andrew Jackson, who's number 31 in the state. Again, reputable teams, improving their strength of schedule as they prepare, but no question here, Gibbs holds strong at the number 1 spot. Seminole and Eastlake holding pat at number 2 and number 3. You have Seminole back in action this week. Got a big game coming up against Countryside on Thursday, and you have Eastlake. Eastlake over break had a big win against Alonzo last week. It was Andre Willis, sophomore, leading the way with 15 points. And the thing that is just so surprising with Eastlake, but so consistent at the same time, as they seems to have a different scorer leading the way for Eastlake on any given night. That makes them simply too hard to guard. There'll be a challenge for anybody as we come down the stretch. So Eastlake holds at number 3. St. Pete slides up one spot to number 4, and it's Coach Johnson's Lakeside Christian Lions sliding into the top 5 this week. Great improvement for the Lions. Again, they are back in action this week. We'll hear more from Coach later on in the show. Just rounding out the top 10 as we look at it, Bogey, tough week last week, going 1-2 with losses to Calvary Christian and Sickles before defeating an IMG White team. Again, tough competition that will ultimately get Bogey ready and prove they're battle tested. But you have a tough loss to Calvary team who has the return of Ace Taylor. You see Calvary sliding back into the top 10 there as you look down the rankings. Ace Taylor it was leading the way for Calvary. And it's good to see Ace back on the court. He returned to action mid-December and is already picking up right where he left off, averaging just over 23 points a game. So we have Bogey at 6, Largo at number 7, Northeast at number 8, Countryside at number 9, and Calvary moving into the top 10 this week at number 10. Countryside Northeast, that's a tough one to separate. I know Countryside, they've won, I want to say it's 8 of the last 9 games with wins over Eastlake, Largo, and Clearwater. They split the season series with Lakeside. Quite possibly can make the argument that Countryside is underranked there, but I think with Northeast beating Countryside head-to-head, that certainly gives them the right to that one spot up. Calvary breaking into the top 10 this week. Again, you have the Ace Taylor returning to the lineup. You have Calvary picking up wins. It was Eastlake, Bogey, and Clearwater while also beating IMG White. So Calvary certainly making some noise. They held on to the top 10 spot for most of the weeks leading in the early season, but certainly earned their keep and showed why they belong there. Again, you'll start to look at the FHSAA rankings, why they matter, and it's so important to understand that. Some discrepancies in our rankings to what the state rankings show, but certainly not with those top 4 spots. You can certainly shuffle those a little bit, but Gibbs at 1, Seminole at 2, and St. Pete at 3. I think the interesting thing you look at that there is you have Gibbs checking in at number 30, and that's after 2 losses. So they were up, I think, as high as number 15 or number 12 in the previous rankings. They drop a little bit to number 30, just the natural flow of season when every loss, the ranking takes a little bit of a hit. But again, to be in the top 30 in the state, that's across all classifications, certainly a spot that they deserve. You go down the list there, you have Calvary up on our list at number 10. Even if you look at the FHSAA, I think at their big week last week, they slide in at number 7 in the county rankings. But again, certainly important to keep an eye on those rankings. They are used to determine the district seeding. So who's going to be hosting games, who's going to have that home court advantage in the first rounds, if that's how the district hosts it. And then once those districts are complete, the rankings update again, and you have your regional top 4. You have your 4 district champions earning an automatic qualification bid, and their next 4 highest ranked teams earning a spot in the regional quarterfinal actions at that point. So it's a state tournament. Lots to unpack there, lots of numbers to throw out there, but I think it's certainly important to understand the difference. And there will certainly be some conversation as far as who belongs where. But as we've said all along, the parity in Pinellas County on the boys' side remains a constant talking point. You can talk about who has the best backcourt, who has the best team start to finish. Certainly lots of arguments to be had there. Some exciting basketball in the second half of the season. Whew, that's a lot of rankings talk, a lot of results talk. Now, certainly excited. We're going to bring Coach Scott Johnson into the show. Get a chance to know Coach over the years. I'll give my brief introduction. I know and Coach can certainly talk to that himself. Coach is currently in his third season as the head coach at Lakeside Christian. He guided the Lions, I believe it was last year, to the first ever regional semifinal appearance. And you talk about a small school at a 2A level. I don't know what the enrollment is at Lakeside Christian, but if you told me it was 200, I think that might be high. Coach Johnson does an amazing job pouring into his guys, not just on the court, but off the court, uplifting them in so many different ways. Everybody, I think, Najon Harris has become almost a household name against Pinellas basketball county fans. And I think when you talked to Coach last week, the excitement from talking about any of his guys was as high as you would hear for the All-Star in Najon Harris. So, Coach, welcome to Pinellas Courtside Connection. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and thanks for all you guys are doing with bringing awareness to Pinellas County sports. I know us coaches and players are really appreciative of that, and just thanks again for having me on, and I'm looking forward to it. So.
That's awesome. Coach, I gave my best shot at an intro and a background of you, but tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us just a little bit about your background.
Yeah, well, I grew up in Kentucky, and I played basketball and baseball at St. Catherine College, and then I moved down to Florida about 26 years ago. And I loved it here, so I decided to stay. I have 3 amazing kids. I have a senior at Palm Harbor, a junior at Lakeside, and then I also have an 8th grader. I'm just really proud of them. Just 3 really great kids, kind-hearted, so couldn't be more proud of them. I coach a lot, work a lot, and with dad life, I don't have much free time, but when I do, I like to get out and fish a little, and that's pretty much it. So just a big sports guy and enjoy watching sports and all that good stuff. So
it's funny. I thought we might get a reference on the 3-on-3 hard to guard tournament appearances that you've made over the years, but it's
I've won more championships in the 3-on-3 than anybody, that's for sure. But I've also been playing it for a very long time.
No, that's awesome. And I know it's wearing many hats, obviously as a coach, but as a dad, and certainly making sacrifices along the way. Just tell us a little bit, why did you get into coaching?
Well, I actually come from a family of coaches. My mom's coach, my uncles were coaches. My dad's actually a pretty famous coach from my hometown, coached baseball and basketball for years. He's in the Kentucky Hall of Fame. So I was always around it and always kind of knew I was going to be a coach. And I got started coaching at 19. I coached my brother's team. He's like 6 years younger than me. So, and then I just kind of always knew I wanted to do it. And then I've enjoyed it, and just kind of a way to give back to the youth in our community, and, try to help them, not just, on the basketball with their basketball careers, but, also help them become positive members of their community and stuff too. So.
That's awesome. And certainly Kentucky basketball, no joke. It's a different breed up there, of course.
Animal.
Yeah, for sure. I know this is I think it's your 3rd year at Lakeside.
Yes, sir.
Already seeing tremendous growth from the program as a whole. I mean, they were always competitive with the teams that they were playing. I mean, you guys got Lucas Kalaxis, who had a great career over at Lakeside, now playing up at Beacon College. But what has been the factors the last 3 years for you guys that have seen you take that jump to a top 5 team in Pinellas County?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, just blessed with a great group of kids. And in my first 2 years, I had quite a few upperclassmen, including Lucas, who just had an amazing career at Lakeside. And having some upperclassmen to start definitely helps, and kind of create a positive culture too at Lakeside. They all kind of bought into that, and it's really helped, with the young group I got coming in. There was, a good precedent, and just kind of blessed with the upperclassmen that I had, and, they've graduated and gone on, but really kind of paved the way. And also blessed with, a really good assistant coach my first 2 years with Aaron Hannon, who's now over at CCC, and congrats to him, he filled in for the coach who's out for a couple games, and he went 2-0, including a overtime win last night against St. Pete Catholic. So kind of proud of him and what he's been doing. And now with my assistant coach, Austin Floyd, who just has a great demeanor with the kids. He played at Weber, played in Spain and Mexico. So kind of teaching the kids what it takes to, what they have to do and how they have to work, and if they have, dreams and hopes to play at the next level. But his demeanor is just so great with the kids, and just really been an added benefit for the program at Lakeside. So blessed to have two great coaches and good players too. So
that's awesome, and certainly a key to a solid foundation, of course. I think you take a look at Lakeside. It's a little bit similar in term with Keswick in terms of size, but you guys have a middle school team and a JV team. Is that right?
We do.
With that size,
and we did have a JV team before, really before I got there. So definitely it's been great. We had a ton of kids come out for the JV team this year, which was great, and really excited about, building that program and seeing where that can go also. So
that's awesome. As you look at your teams and you kind of really establishing the Lakeside, the culture there, and building on that kind of you alluded to, what are the staples to a Coach Johnson team at Lakeside?
Well, my team's going to lace it up. They're going to play, and they really don't care who they play. As you can see, we scheduled some big schools early, and I think that really helped, get them a little battle tested, and helped me as a coach too. You can learn a lot about your team when you have to play those tough games early, kind of what you have to work towards and get them prepared. But my kids are going to play hard, whether we're up 20, down 20. They're going to come after you. They're going to always move the ball, and we preach that extra pass, and especially this year's group more than my groups in the past, and they really are an unselfish group and really just look to get everyone involved, as you can tell with how balanced my team is this year. So
yeah, talk about that a little bit. I know you and I have touched base on it. Like, what's it, 3 or 4 guys that have scored 19 or more in a game?
We've actually have 4 players that have scored 19 or higher, and we have we obviously Nijon, he's at 25, and then Jabari Adams, who probably is the most improved player in Pinellas County. He didn't get a lot of varsity time last year, but instead of complaining about it, the kid really went to work and on all facets of his game, and now he's around 15 points, and he's hit some big shots all season long, and just really proud of that kid who just really he didn't settle for just not getting minutes. He just really worked hard, and man, he's hit some big shots for us this year, and just really proud of him. And then when you look down, we have another kid around 10 points, and then 2 or 3 more kids around 7 to 8. So just really balanced, and every kid, it seems like that's played on our team has had a game where they just had like a really, really big game. So just proud of the group as a whole. So.
No, that's awesome. It's great to hear a story of someone like Jabari who, you take the approach of working hard and earning those minutes. Something like that certainly to be celebrated. Kudos to him, and keep an eye on him for the rest of the season. We hear a lot about Nijon Harris in being not just one of the top players in Pinellas County, but one of the top players in his grade. What makes him so special? Man,
I could talk forever on this kid. Saying he's special is just an understatement. The kid he's really, I've been around basketball my entire life, and I've never seen a more talented 8th grader. He really has no weaknesses. He can take you off the dribble. He can take you on the block, has a nice mid-range game, can go either hand, like step out and knock shots down. He's an elite passer, probably one of the best outlet passers like I've coached. And it's so crazy because he's so young and just so talented, and he's strong. And like I say about Nijon, spend 5 minutes with that kid and you'll be a fan. Like, his demeanor is like you've never seen anything like it. Like, he's never once complained to a ref about any calls, even though he gets fouled all the time. And he just plays like, if he donks or hits a big shot, you don't get any flexing or screaming. He just literally just loves to play the game and plays it the right way. And, his mom's just done a great job with just keeping him like humble and like grounded. And it's just really blessed to be part of his journey and everything, because his potential's through the roof. He's ranked in the top 5 nationally, and he's just really a special player, but just really a special kid too, because you don't see that kind of demeanor out of a kid that talented very often. So just like I said, really blessed to just be part of his journey, and really proud of him. So
Yeah, I think it certainly speaks a lot to him too. Is you look at your team, and he's an 8th grader playing with juniors, seniors, and sophomores, but it really seems, again, I haven't had a chance to see you guys play yet, but I obviously follow you closely enough to know, but it seems like he just fits right in.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, the group as a whole, they're just like, they really do what they're supposed to, like on the court, off the court, and they just kind of hold each other accountable, and just really blessed with those kids. And I know we talked about Blaise Shabangu being the glue player, and he won that award, and he was very proud of that. And it's just so true. He really just shows leadership, and just that guy that doesn't care if he scores 20 points or 2 points. He just he just does what it takes. He's often guards kids like 3-4 inches taller than him and bigger than him, but he just goes to work, and just really proud of him too. And he's come a long way in a few years, and he's just a great asset to team. Every team should have a kid like that for sure. So
that's awesome, yeah, and congrats to Blaise on getting the first ever Glue Award on the boys side, which is an initiative we're trying to bring spotlight to guys. And I think I know you won't take credit for any of it, Coach, because not who you are, but it speaks to the leadership that you guys have through your coaches, that the guys really embrace their roles and really become a true team aspect of the game. So kudos to you guys on that. As you look ahead as a 2A team, the road to states is tough, but how important was it playing those top teams in Pinellas County, even Tampa Bay area early in the year, just to become battle tested?
Oh, I think it was extremely important because, like I said earlier, like playing those teams, you really find out what your team's made of early, and then you can really see like what you really need to work on to get prepared to, to hopefully win your districts and make a deep run. Got with the kids early, before the season started, and said, hey, look, we can play some really tough teams, and our record might not be as good, but it's really going to help us down the road. And they were like, let's do it. Like, line them up and let's play it. And I think that just kind of shows you what kind of kids I have and what kind of, just a group they are. And they want to play the big teams, and they want to compete. And, I just really proud of them for that too. They don't shy away from competition, and just blessed with the group I have. So
that's awesome. We've heard a lot about the guys and the team as a whole. How would you grade, or how would you evaluate the first half of your season? And then as you look ahead to the second half, what steps does Lakeside need to take to prepare for the postseason?
Yeah, no, the first half, I felt like we dropped a couple games that we probably should have won, but we've learned a lot from it and was able to adjust. So I think we've won 8 out of our last 10 games, and we're using that, to build some momentum going into the second half of the season. Learned a lot about some things that, we needed to adjust as a team and that good stuff. And I think we're in good shape to reel off a bunch of wins here and get a good seed, hopefully for the region, and hopefully win a district. And, hosting those region games is important. Like, we took a 4-hour drive down to Newman last year, and was just kind of crazy. We had a traffic jam, and we got there like 15 minutes before the game started, had 20 lead changes in the fourth quarter, and it was just an amazing game though. And we pulled it out, and I just think, it's just important to have that, home court advantage. And, some kids aren't used to playing on a court like ours too. So it's definitely an advantage that we want to take advantage of. So.
Yeah, we had to make that drive down to Naples twice last year. We played at Newman, and then we played at Evangelical down to Fort Myers. It seemed like they were both 4-hour rides. I don't know how long they really were, but
it's definitely a hike. So
look, I don't. Hopefully, it works out the way with seating that you guys do get a home game. Because I'd love to see that gym packed and bring that intensity to support the Pinellas County teams. Coach, we've talked a lot about Lakeside, and I know certainly that's a season that we're in right now. But I know you coach over at Skill Center. Just talk a little bit about that opportunity you've had and how that's helped you as a coach.
No, I think I really kind of got started on the travel scene, like 6-7 years ago. I started with Hard to Guard, had some great kids there, and some of Eastlake's players that are really doing well with Brody Church and Jeremiah Cooper, and Andre Willis had a huge game the other day. Those were all kids I coached, there, and I had Brody and Jeremiah since the 4th grade through 8th grade, and then Brody like 6th grade through 9th grade. And he actually transitioned and played on my Skill Center team, national team last year, and just really, really proud of those kids too. And Brody had a huge game against us, and just watching those kids do well, and kind of really lets me know, like, I'm doing something good for them. And we talked about some of the travel kids I've coached. I think we figured out like 28 high schools have kids I coached or trained that are like actually playing varsity, and a lot of them starting. So, and then I got a great opportunity with Skill Center last year. Really appreciate the opportunity from John Arroyo that brought me over to coach the 2026 team on the Under Armour circuit, in which we did really, really well with, have JoJo Phylon and JT Tipton and Braylon Moore and Josh Patrick and all those guys, and Tyler Collette, and just a whole lot of guys that are doing really well on the varsity scene now. And, we were ranked number 1 team on the Ross circuit for most of the season, and just a great opportunity. And now I'm going to get to coach the 2025 team, which is a talented group of juniors. We got kids all the way from North Fort Myers all the way to Lecanto. So it's a pretty wide spectrum, but had big tryout and stuff. And just, I think travel basketball is just a lot of fun because you get to create a lot of memories with the kids. You get to travel. We got to travel around the country last year. We went to Arizona, to, South Carolina, to Atlanta, and, just to watch the kids create those memories and stuff like that, stuff that they're never going to forget, and stuff as us as coaches never going to forget. And just, coaching the different players and different styles and everything, I think's really helped me as a coach, and definitely is, what makes it worth it. And trying to keep up with all those kids on max preps, or try to peek in on some games, or just like messaging the kids and giving them some words of encouragement and stuff like that is, very important to me. And like, once you play for me, I always say, like, now you're part of my family. So, always be there for those kids, and just proud of a lot of them, and just excited to, just excited to continue that journey too, as well as, finishing out this year with Lakeside. And
for sure, that's such an awesome opportunity too, just to pour into some of those kids. And I think I've always said sports is such a unique platform in that it allows us to celebrate the little wins in life. A kid scores 15 points and it's a big night. It's a great way to really build character, build self-esteem, and so many other things. Coach, you hear all the connections that you have. You obviously have a wide knowledge of the various levels of basketball being played in our area, cross county, Tampa, like you said, from Lecanto to Fort Myers, wide range. You take a look at a team like Gibbs, just to shift gears a little bit. How good is that Gibbs team that we're seeing this year?
And they're really good. I got to watch them play against Blake, because I have a couple kids, that I coach from Skill Center over at Blake. Mm-hmm. So I got to watch that game, and man, Gibbs is tough. Like, if you're sitting down to build a team, they got talented guards, they got talented bigs, like they're just a really complete team, and it's just exciting for a team from Pinellas. I really think that they have a legit shot to make a run and win that state championship, which would be great for the area. And they're definitely talented, man, and well coached, and just I just really think like they got something special going there for sure.
Yeah, and I need to take a look at that game. I think it was Gibbs coming up on top 69-64. I think in that game was a close game, but
it was really close. And
you talk about, Blake is such a loaded team. You got JoJo on the team. We had a chance to see a couple years back as an 8th grader when he was playing at Tampa Prep. They played at the Christmas tournament. But it's just such a talented group at Blake. I don't know if people really can appreciate how big of a win that is. I think John Arroyo and his guys have Blake ranked number 2 in their average Joe rankings that they do over on the podcast for Hillsborough. So
JoJo's a special talent, man, and I just know that kid. He just really wants it, and he puts the work in, and he's got a high GPA too, and
awesome.
So he takes care of business in both ways, and just a neat kid too, and fun kid to be around, and his dad Joe with those average Joe rankings and stuff like that. He does a great job though of just promoting kids in Hillsborough County, and we've been friends for a long time, but just really impressed with how he like promotes the kids and in his area, and post videos of kids from other teams and all of that stuff. It's just really great. Kind of like Jackson Bird's dad with Bird Ball over here, with the Bird Ball Productions, and trying to just bring some exposure to kids in our area, and that's a kid too you got to be on the look for. Jackson Bird, I'm telling you, couple years he's gonna be one of the best point guards in the state. That kid can really play, and blessed to have him part of our program too. As an 8th grader, he's getting some varsity time, and he's just one of those like old school point guards that just makes everyone better, and it's always trying to create opportunities for his teammates, and don't underestimate how he can put it in the basket too, and plays with a lot of passion and fire. And you can see I get excited talking about him because I just know his future's bright and big, and blessed to have him too, part of the program. With him and Nijon are real close, and that's a duo to really look out for. I'm telling you,
that's
sky's
awesome.
the limit for them.
I talked to my guy Austin Vogel, who coaches the JV boys team over at Keswick, and he's the running joke is like, "You sure that kid wasn't supposed to be on varsity for our game? You're just so tough."
Yeah. And he got some really good minutes over at the Indian Rocks tournament. He played well. I was really,
awesome.
really proud of that kid. Like, he has no fear. When he laces them up and goes out there, you're gonna get his best effort. That's for sure.
That's great. And I know you have your biased opinion on your guys, but if you're to tag someone that's kind of flying under the radar in Pinellas County as a team, who do you think who would you pin that on this year?
I kind of think Admiral Farragut, to be honest with you. Like, their records, not really that great. I think they're 4-4 or something like that, but they got a talented team over there, and they're well coached too. And with the big guy, that Vuk, he can really play and really go. And I think they're going to come together. They brought all those kids together in like their first year playing with each other. But I think down the road they're going to be a problem. For sure.
Admiral Farragut could have my one favorite guy in Danilius Galambauskis, and one of the greatest names of Pinellas County this year. But man, that kid can really shoot the ball, and
he can really play. And we had a great battle with them at their place, and really, really talented team, and I think they're a lot better than the record shows. So I think they're going to be a team that's going to surprise people towards the end of the season. I really do. So.
Not to be sure to keep an eye on Admiral Farragut for sure. And then any players that may be flying under the radar that people should keep an eye out for.
That's a tough one. There's a lot of talented kids. In the area. I really like that duo with the not really flying under the radar, but the Jordan Naylor and Caleb Oriole. Those are some talented kids. And then you got You got Max and Gio over at CCC too. They might be kids that kind of fly under the radar a little bit, but those guys can play too. So,
Yeah.
I haven't got to really see a couple of the teams play. I haven't got to see Clearwater, so I can't really, comment too much on them. But I know Coach Foote does a amazing job over there, and I know they've had some good wins lately too. So I'm looking forward to kind of checking out some of their games also. So.
Yeah, I think you kind of, without alluding to it, one of the things that we've talked about all year from start to finish, just the parity on the boys' side is
just look at us in Countryside. Like Countryside, handled us pretty easy the first time, and then the second time we handled them pretty easily. So, you're talking about, just in that alone, and we were a layup away with 20 seconds to go at, a beat of tying Eastlake at Eastlake in Eastlake's event. So, just crazy how close some of these teams are. And we beat Northeast on a last second shot in the fall league. So those, it's just a lot of tough teams in the area, and just, it's just crazy. I literally think you could line us all up and play 10 times, and it might be 5-5. It's I think Gibbs is there at the top, and they're separated, but I think 2 through 14 maybe even are really close and could beat each other on any given night. So
yeah,
it's
certainly
great for the area. Great.
I say it's certainly great for the area. Such a great opportunity to get out and support local high school basketball. Coach, look, I really appreciate you taking the time out on a Wednesday night to join us here on Pinellas Courtside Connection. Thank you so much. I certainly wish you and the Lakeside Christian Lions the best of luck down the stretch. And we look to hopefully get a courtside seat for that regional quarterfinal at your house.
I really appreciate that. And thanks again for all you guys are doing and bringing awareness. And we as coaches and players, we really appreciate it. And good luck with your girls squad. And hopefully they can make a deep run too, because I know they're very talented. So
I appreciate that, Coach. Thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to following you the rest of the season.
Awesome. Thank you.
Right on. Thanks, Coach. That was Coach Scott Johnson, the Lakeside Christian Lions boys varsity head coach, as well as a skills center travel team coach. Lots of experience, lots of knowledge of the area. Thank you so much for Coach for joining us. Certainly gives us a unique perspective, not just into his team, but into the basketball that's in the area, and just how many guys are overlapping from travel ball to high school ball, and great to see just the celebration of each individual the guys that he's coached, whether he's coaching them on his team now or not, just celebrating those moments with them. A simple text message here or there, whatever it may be. If you get a chance, you want to get out and see those Lakeside Christian Lions in action. They're certainly a fun team to watch, high scoring, and like Coach said, they'll lace them up and run with any of them. So, well, we're going to shift gears just a little bit. I know Coach talked about the Glue Award last week or 2 weeks ago. We gave the first ever edition of the Glue Award, a chance to really reward leadership, people that excel on and off the court. There's so many talented players that come through the area and play, but you also have so many players that just make a huge difference for their teams. This week, the Glue Award on the boys' side goes to Jake Levesque. Keswick last year was an honorable mention for the Pinellas Private School Conference, getting recognition from one of the opposing school coaches to earn that honor. What's unique about Jake is committed to play Division II baseball over at Queens College up in Flushing, Queens in New York, right across from City Field, not just down the road from City Field. But you talk about a guy like Jake Levesque, who is a senior who shows great leadership on a squad. You talk to Jake, and he's just genuinely excited about the youth and the younger guys on Keswick's team, and he wants to bring that excitement. He often wonders and jokes that those guys should be playing over me, but you take a guy like Jake, who's just a total culture guy. He's the guy talking with Coach Zomerman and Coach Vogel over at Keswick. That really sets the tone, shows a hard work ethic. it's basketball season, but it's always baseball season for Jake. He's getting in the batting cages on Saturday morning, and then he goes up and coaches youth basketball at the Keswick Saturday Morning League. And Jake is just one of those guys that really can bring a team together. And we've had the opportunity to get a great close seat for his games in action. Great to see Jake's willingness to knock down the three this year, knock down a couple of long balls. But again, a talented baseball player for Coach Paulton and the Keswick Crusader. Row the boat mentality. The baseball team there does a great job with the baseball squad there. But Jake really stepping up, being a multi-sport athlete over at Keswick, helping out the basketball team as well. So shout out to Jake Levesque for winning the Glue Award on the boys' side. On the girls' side, had a great conversation, with Coach Travis Donaldson. Coach Travis have known for a number of years since he's taken over at Northside, really building up a program and building it up from the middle school team. I know coaches had visions of adding a JV team, but when you really start to build that program, the importance of really pouring into the younger teams is certainly a matter. It's paramount. It's needed. The kids need to be playing basketball and cannot be playing enough. Coach does an amazing job with the girls over at Northside. We got Kristen Withy and Michaela Oliver tabbed with this week's Glue Award on the girls' side. And you look at Northside and you look at their results. You go from a 1-win season in 2021 to 2022. They won 9 games last year, and they're off to a 5-2 start this year. Again, huge improvements. You might not see them in the top 10 on the rankings quite yet. I think Northside will be knocking on the door and certainly making that case. But you have commitment and dedication to girls like Michaela and Kristen who, really pour into the program, and they might not be the ones that are scoring all the points or grabbing all the rebounds, but their role and embracing that is certainly key to growing a program like they have over at Northside. So congratulations to Michaela and Kristen and Jake on this week's Glue Award. We look forward to hearing from more coaches throughout the season as an opportunity to shine a spotlight and bring recognition to so many of these other student athletes who are putting in hard work. Well, we've had quite a wide range of conversation on this week's edition of Pinellas Courtside Connection. A little bit of a unique week as we change scenery. This week, recording from Central Christian Church here in St. Pete on a Wednesday night after our Bible study. It was a great opportunity just to kind of stay put here and talk with Coach, get a different perspective on things. It's such an exciting time of year as teams ramp up for the second half of the year. You look ahead. Over at Lakewood's hosting the MLK Classic this week. You have teams from all over the area coming in, and just take a look at this right here. You look at your leading scorers. It's a shuffle on any given week. On the girls' side, again, amazing performances all year from Michaela Pascal, who's been a walking double-double for Largo. You have Ava Graham averaging over 21 points a game for Keswick, on pace to set the school scoring record. I believe she's 24 points shy from that. So hopefully that's a mark that's in record that's set in the coming weeks. But you go down that list, you got Clearwater, Lakewood, Eastlake, the backcourt of Olivia Williams and Pink Star Devant from Clearwater, Malia Bird from Bogey as they start to ramp up, and Zanasia Al-Zafi, who over at Canterbury averaging over 15 points a game. Quite a wide range of talent amongst that scoring leaderboard, and players certainly to keep an eye on. On the boys' side, Ace Taylor certainly is back. I know 7 games is averaging 23 points a game for Calvary. Great to see Ace in his return. I know Jeremiah Porter over at Tarpon. I know Tarpon probably doesn't have the record that they'd like to boast, but Jeremiah is certainly a talented athlete up at Tarpon Springs, averaging 22 a game. Seeing his name up on that list this week is certainly great. And again, Nick Barry continues to be a walking double-double on the boys' side. Certainly don't be fooled by St. Pete Catholic's record, not the wins and losses that they want, but they are a tough squad and certainly not a team that people are going to look forward to facing down the stretch. look, as you look at all this talent, and you look at all these student athletes putting in the hard work, you get out and support these teams. Get on Max Preps, check out the local schedules, log on to NFHS Network to get out and catch some games. As we mentioned briefly before, Lakewood hosting the MLK Classic. You got some of the top teams in the area on the girls' side coming in. You have Plant coming in from Tampa playing in the shootout. You have obviously Lakewood will be there. Bogey is playing in that. Keswick will be playing in games Friday and Saturday. A full lineup. But again, log on, check out our local games, support your local high school basketball. We would love to hear your feedback. Chime in on the rankings, agree, disagree, whatever it may be. We look forward to hearing from everyone. Get on social media and keep that conversation going. And we hope to catch as many of you in person in the gym as we're catching up on some of the action around Pinellas County. Always a great opportunity to get on here and talk basketball. Great conversation with Coach Johnson. And just as we bring this episode to a close, take some time, support your local coaches, support your local teams, whether it's your varsity team, your JV teams, and encourage these young student athletes. There's so much noise out there on social media and whatever else, and you have an opportunity just to simply celebrate their dedication, their commitment, and that's ultimately what we want to do here at Pinellas Courtside Connection. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for Totem Pole Nation for hosting this podcast on StreamYard. Again, Totem Pole Nation, thank you so much to all the team at the Pinellas High School Media Group for making this possible. We look forward to joining you guys next week. We'll come at you again, looking at the rankings, the leading scorers, and always bringing us a little bit of different flavor with some player interviews and coaches interviews in the upcoming episodes. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on Pinellas Courtside Connection. We'll see you on the courts.